events. It's the premier pairs event at the regatta, the only men's pairs event at the regatta. And it's two really strong British pairs. On the left, Foad Langridge, the world silver medalists, and they have gone off at a rate of knots. And then their teammates from the British team who have gone well over towards them. That's the two men from Oxford Brookes University Neander Club, McBrierty and Tarrant. We'll talk more about them as the race unfolds, but this is a chance for Foad Langridge to demonstrate how fast they're going, and for McBrierty and Tarrant to show Coach Jürgen Grobler how close they can get to the top pair. And look at that, Matt Tarrant and Callum McBrierty have got a lead, Sarah.
What an incredible start to this race. The two youngsters we can see to us close, on the close side, McBrierty and Tarrant. They came 6th in the men's pair at the Varese World Cup only a couple of weeks ago. There on screen, we just saw Langridge and Foad. Langridge, a 3-time Olympian, an Olympic silver medalist in the men's 8 in 2008, an Olympic bronze medalist in the men's 8 in 2012. And what pedigree they have, along with Foad, I should say. And we can see them starting to take this lead now. They're keeping the beat up. They were second at the World Championships to that all dominating Kiwi men's pair. Well, I'm sure they're quite happy, aren't here racing this event, as they're about a canvas lead up on their teammates.
Well, as we look at Foad Langridge, I think the Kiwi pair, certainly Eric Murray, he's been watching this fantastic coverage from the Henley Regatta, and I'm sure he'll know exactly what time this race is, and he will know he's got to race one of these British pairs, or both of them. They're entered in Lucerne next week. There we get a shot of Matt Tarrant. He was in the British 8 that took gold in the World Championships last year, the Oxford Brookes Oarsman. And he will be disappointed not to be in one of the higher ranked crews, either the men's 8, the men's 4 or the men's pair. So he's kind of one of the spare men of the team, probably going to be in the Cox pair, which is a non-Olympic event. And it's massive for him, this race. The guy in the burgundy top on the left of your picture now in the trailing boat, Matt Tarrant, world champion, and he's in the semi-final trailing to his teammates Foad Langridge on the top of your picture.
And there really is a big difference in how they've gone about this race. You can see the pain on Langridge's face there. They've gone out hard into this head breeze, and they really haven't dropped down. They've kept the beat up, and this is something we're used to seeing in the Kiwi men's pair. They keep that beat up, they keep racing through into the second quarter of the race until they're comfortable. And then they just keep pushing away and keep walking away from there. But the younger competitors, McBrierty and Tarrant, they really settled down into a longer, lopier rhythm, which is very costly in this headwind condition.
So I think both these crews are coached by the same man, Rob Dauncey, and he looks after the British pairs. He'll certainly be pleased with the pace shown by Foad Langridge. Their rating is very high. That's the number of strokes per minute. If you're just tuning into Rome, we will come out with these technical terms and we'll explain them to you. The number of strokes a minute is actually very high. They're rating about 38 strokes a minute, and into a headwind, Sarah, that is quite a high rating. Normally you'd expect about 36. How do you explain that?
Well, they just look like they've got so much power behind the handle there. For me, it doesn't look like they're spinning the wheels. It looks like they can handle it. They're really moving the boat very well. And this is some of the best rowing that I think I've seen from this combination. They've been very, very successful. They won the 2015 European Championships, as we mentioned. They're seasoned Olympians, Olympic medalists. They were silver at the World Championships in this event last year. So they're very, very seasoned, experienced competitors. But this is some of the better rowing that I think I've seen.
Yeah, and what I love about the shots we're getting now is you see how close James Foad's blade is to the wooden booms. I mean, they've gone straight as a die down those booms. You can see from the overhead shots, you can see from the drone shots, it takes bottle to steer that close. And they're only steering this boat, if you're watching, just with a movable training shoe that really sort of swivels left and right as we look at, well, Callum McBrierty just had a check round there, but the shoe is attached to these wires that lead to the rudder, so it's a real skill.
And a fantastic shot from the drone there. And when we had the close-up before of McBrierty and Tarrant, you could actually see that they had what looked like little straws sticking off the gunnels of their boat. And I remember that Kimmy and I did the same thing. And they actually stick them on there as markers for length, basically as a marker for your outside hand. You can see on the end of the handle there. Gives you a marker as to how far you need to come out to row a full long stroke. So it's a bit of a reminder to keep staying long, which they are certainly doing, but it looks like their rate is just a bit low in the less experienced boat on screen to the left, McBrierty and Tarrant. They're just making it a little bit long and lopey and heavy, whereas the boat to the right, the boat in the lead, we can see Foad Langridge, their beaters up, they look powerful, they look strong, and they certainly don't want this to be a close margin to their teammates. Pride is on the line here, as well as the all-important victory and ticket through to tomorrow's final.
So we're watching the semi-final of the Silver Goblets, the premier pairs event at Henley, and in the lead are the world silver medalists, the British pair, Matt Langridge and James Foad. They're going away the last 400 metres, and then their teammates from Oxford Brookes University and the Ander Club, Matt Tarrant and Callum McBrierty. And, well, the top British pair have not had a chance to let up all the way. They're rating the number of strokes per minute they're doing, which is an indication of how hard they're having to go, is come down from the high 38 strokes a minute to around about 35 strokes a minute. And that's an indication that their teammates have pushed them all the way. And Matt Langridge is looking round to check where he is. He's a bit of a look around, Matt Langridge, in the boat, actually, Sarah. I don't know if you used to look around when you were in the boat.
Oh, never.
So I think looking at the British pair, they've coped well with the opposition. They were led off the start, but they kept their cool. Matt Tarrant and Callum McBrierty, you see there, have really stuck to their task. I think if you'll notice, they've kind of almost moved directly behind the British pair, and they'll probably know it may be more advantageous on that Berkshire side of the course, the side that the top British pair in the lead are on. They'll probably want to move back onto their station, the Buckinghamshire station, for the finish.
And they're hurting now as they come into the last stage. As we've said, this headwind makes the race so much longer and harder than it would normally be. It is quite a punchy little head breeze. Some of those gusts really are knocking the crews around, and it makes the steering quite difficult as well in the boats without a coxswain. As Martin mentioned, you're only using a little rudder that's attached to the foot plate, normally on the stroke man, and it can be really difficult in this moving water and in some of these gusts to keep the boat going straight. But an incredible race there from the top British pair, and they really are incredible athletes. And they'll be looking to take it to the Kiwis, who'll be fronting up in Lucerne at the World Cup next week for the first time this season.
See Langridge looking round. He had about 3 or 4 looks as he came to the finish there, because he wanted to get this race over and done with. And there's the second British pair. So Foad and Langridge win that race. Good race, hard race as well. The top British pair, Foad and Langridge, beating their teammates Matt Tarrant and Callum McBrierty. And you can see how difficult the water looks there.